Hello, David Zritsky for the Bond Experience.
Oh, Joseph Darlington from Being James Bond.
He's got binoculars, but he can't see. What does it even mean? We are back, and if you've seen some of these vlogs, we follow a particular pattern. This started from a conversation on the way to Washington.
Yep.
I mean, it's kind of amazing. Joe had a theory, and the theory is that each Bond actor's best film was their first film. And we said, right? It's a theory.
Tends to be, yeah.
Tends to be. We figured we'd test it. We'd watch all 6 movies that obviously starred the Bonds and then really evaluate, are they the best? And I don't know if you can see above me, but based on the binoculars that he just had, we're in front of The Living Daylights.
Yep.
Timothy Dalton's first film.
Yep.
Now, you got to kind of take us back a little bit. What's the first time you had a connection to this film? Saw it, felt it.
Yeah, I was pretty in Bond mode at this point.
Right.
So when this film came out, I rushed out and see it. I saw this one a couple of times in the theaters actually, way back when.
Really?
Yeah.
So you were hyped for this.
In fact, I even cracked up my car on the way into the parking lot because I was late on one of them.
Getting to this film.
Yeah, actually.
See, so again, we differ here. So I don't even remember seeing this film.
Really?
I remember having an attitude about Timothy Dalton films. I wasn't too excited.
Were you a Brosnan hopeful?
I didn't even know about the Brosnan thing there, but I was coming off of Roger Moore, and all of a sudden Timothy Dalton appears, and I feel like he's kind of that harsh Bond, and I don't know if I fully accept it. I actually think I saw License to Kill before Living Daylights, and that's why I walked away from License to Kill thinking like, meh. So Living Daylights was always a little bit marred to me, but I kind of loved watching it again.
Yeah.
Talk to me about your perception of Bond and Timothy's portrayal.
It's funny because we grew up on nice guy Bond, nice guy Roger Moore.
Yes.
He was a perfect gentleman. He was always a nice guy.
Yep.
And then coming to Timothy Dalton, and again, if you've seen him in anything, does he have, is harshness a tough word?
And intensity.
Yeah.
I mean, the one thing when you and I were watching the film is when he glares, he's like ripping right through you to the point where Joe and I kept saying the same thing. When he smiles, it's disturbing.
Right.
It's like, why are you smiling? You're creeping me out.
I'm about to murder you.
You do a great intensity face, but your happy face not so much.
Yeah.
But you were accepting of Timothy in this particular role.
Yes, this was. Oh yeah. I loved the Roger Moores. By the time View to a Kill came out, it was obviously kind of getting into the goofies where they tend to go.
Right.
After a while, and then again, like almost every time they get a new actor, they bring it back in and they start to refocus on what makes Bond. And honestly, I really feel like, boy, do they do it with this one.
They did.
The locations are beautiful.
Yes.
I mean, the story is fantastic. Again, they're back to the Russia, the Cold War thing, which again is pretty rare. In these first, they sort of get back to that. Oh yeah, wasn't Bond a Cold War guy?
Right.
So let's talk about that. So yeah, I mean, a lot of the elements that I really love in a Bond film is in this one. So
and there was one I pointed out from the very beginning. Every time we've talked about Bond 25, I tell everyone, my gosh, I would love to see the 00s get back in action. Something like the Goldeneye moment where you see multiple 00s. I forget the whole beginning opens with them in a plane diving out of it. There's more 00s, and right then and there, they get into an adventure.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. He's working in tandem with these guys, and it's great to see other 00s in the field. And then he goes on after that. He's got Saunders, who's not a 00, but he's another agent of sorts. So that works really nice.
So this is why I think I have some issues with this film. The more I watched it this time, it came to me. There are certain aspects of Timothy Dalton's Bond that I really like. I mean, I kind of put him with Craig in the holy shit, does he seem dangerous, seems like he could kill you moment. But then I've got these wonderful locations. I've got Bond motions. He's on a mission, which I don't want any kind of daddy, son, brother type BS to go on. So I have my wish list going. Then all of a sudden, I think I even turned to you at one point. I said, Joe, who's the bad guy in this movie?
Right.
And you're like, oh, it's Whitaker, and then there's the other guy, and then there's Gorgie, and I'm like,
they kind of cover all the bases,
but they're not great bad guys.
Yeah, they kind of go for quantity over quality with this one. Again, they have, and it's funny because I like Koskov I feel like when I'm watching him, I'm enjoying watching his performance.
Right.
But then as a Bond villain, it's like, well, he doesn't have that punch. Whitaker, yeah, again, he's a weird one because again, they sort of go overboard to show you that he's not a nice person.
Right.
Like you see the the vanity when he's got his men all with his own face on it. And then later he's a glutton because he's got the big feast of food and he eats like a slob.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, we get it. We're not supposed to like him.
Right.
Point taken. Then they sort of round out the trio with the Red Grant, the classic Aryan Superman.
Right.
And it's like, all right, we got everybody, but still, it's a weird kind of potpourri, isn't it?
You know what my problem is that I'm coming off of movies or then I look in the future to see Casino Royale and I see how there's multiple bad guys working together as one, and it really works from a story standpoint as opposed to we need a Red Grant, get the guy in the blue bikini bottoms.
Right.
Well done, I guess.
Right.
But here's the other thing too. We got to talk about it. What did you think of the Bond girl, Cara?
I've always liked her. She does have that sort of classic winged dove character trait that we sort of mentioned before.
Yeah.
So she's sort of helpless, and again, I don't need them all to be Bond's equal. So I don't mind that she's just sort of a damsel in distress.
Yeah, and you'll be surprised to hear I have mixed reviews. So I could have been the one that says, "Oh my gosh, it's another Stacey Sutton." James, help me, James. Here's some quiche. Shut up. But no, I actually like the fact that she was pivotal to the story. Like it's about her. She was taken in. She was hornswoggled, and now she's not just this damsel. She's kind of at the core, and even betrays Bond, poisons him.
Right.
That was kind of a cool moment.
It absolutely was. This has that great Fleming foundation because this comes from the short story. And the short story, I love how they sort of treated this. The short story was basically the part with the sniper. Yes. It was her with the sniper rifle. Bond, in the short story, it's kind of almost more about how Bond sort of spends his day leading up to the event, but his mission was to take out the sniper. Exactly. And he sees that it's a female sniper, and he knows something is not right, so he's not going to go for the kill. So they took that and said, okay, where did this come from? Why did this happen? And whatever. And what they come up with, I think, is really great. So yeah, you're right. I like how they used her in this, and she is integral to the story. Yeah,
and we got to talk about it because we mentioned it while we were watching it. The score here. I mean, John Barry is back in a big way, and it feels, sounds, and has that emotional connection of a John Barry score at all the right moments.
Absolutely.
Were you impressed?
This is easily one of my favorite John Barry scores. I mean, this is probably, honestly, my most listened to soundtrack. Yeah. The one that I will just pop in. I mean, even back in college, I remember a lot of days walking across the college campus with this playing in the Sony Walkman.
Although too much of the Milkman music. That Milkman music? Where is every monkey bald? Is every monkey bald? I'm like, what lyrics is that? Is that from Gibraltar with those stupid monkeys? I don't know the words. I hate it. But I love everything else about it. And we're back to the Bond theme. Yeah. The one thing I've always pounded against Craig's films is like, I swear to God, it's like, Bond themes in Craig's films are like these beans that you're like starving, cutting in half. Yeah. It's ridiculous.
Right? I mean, it's funny because in Casino Royale, I mean, you understood this was sort of pre-Bond, so we're going to get up to the Bond theme. Okay. You thought once we got there, we'd have it again.
Be littered.
Right. But they sort of have realized, well, Casino works so well, we can't break out of that formula now.
Yeah, which we'll see what they do in Bond 25. Now, we've got to talk about, because I don't know if you've seen some of the other vlogs, we've talked about this aspect, because the cool thing about Bond is they're not just movies, they're historical moments in time of filmmaking, and they really are. And we talked about, obviously, Dr. No and On Her Majesty's Secret Service, Live and Let Die. We've got to talk about 1987 PC. Now, there were some interesting moments of kind of harshness in this movie. Do you recall them?
I do. First of all, I mean, that scene with Pushkin and Bond in the hotel room is first. It's just it's a fantastic.
It is a great.
Yeah, I mean, it is absolutely amazing. But yeah, he gets a little rough with the girlfriend there.
He does. He uses her as a sexual distraction, which, by the way, is it the first and last time we actually see, I'm going to say it, nipples?
A little side nip there, yeah.
And it's not left to the imagination, but it works as a distraction.
It certainly does. And interestingly, this is a PG film. All the Bonds after this have been pretty much PG-13.
And there were some dark moments, too.
Yeah, it's right. It is a little rough for a Bond film. Those fight scenes are, I think, pretty rough for what we had seen up until this point.
Now, was Bond in this, was he misogynistic? Did he try to take advantage of Kara in any way? There was a little moment on the Ferris wheel, but I thought that was lightly romantic and little quips here and there.
Yeah, I found that to be perfectly reasonable, frankly. I mean, it's just a guy on a date. Somebody's got to make the first move.
And by the way, when he lands on the boat in the beginning, I know that he's gotten a couple PC slaps for that, but she's the one that offers him to stay.
Yeah, I don't know what's PC about that one. Right? I don't know what everybody's gonna fault with that one. He was invited to stay, and he chose to.
By the way, badass cordless phone that she has.
Right, seriously.
It's points
There's
for
a
that.
sign of the '80s.
And speaking of phones, we've got to talk about the look of the film. So before we get into his look, I think the film looks good. I think it looks, it's colorful. Yeah. When they go places, it's not muted. What did you think about the overall look of the film?
There are some scenes in this that are terrific. I mean, you mentioned as we were watching at one point that this has sort of an epic feel for a Bond film.
Yes.
And I definitely feel there was a lot of shots that were really well done to sort of give you that sweeping epic feel.
That's a perfect way to put it. Sprawling, it's epic, it's sweeping, it's all those things.
Yeah.
And then we've got to talk about Bond himself.
Go ahead, tell him what you want. If he fires me, I'll thank him for it. Whoever she was must have scared the living daylights out of her.
The members only jackets. The off-the-peg suits, the big chunky sweater.
Yeah.
I will say, I'll go first here. I don't think this is the best Bond look. I think he has some good moments. I do like Dalton's hair better in this one than License to Kill. He didn't have that Dracula widow's peak like he had in the second outgoing that he had. But his suits, just everything looked like they were hanging off him, like he was buying them. Now, that is a sign of the times. They wore things baggier.
Yeah.
But the one suit that I thought was like, ooh, that's kind of cool and appropriate was the one in Tangier, where he's wearing like the beige suit.
Absolutely, yeah.
That looked the mustard.
That to me is like always a quintessential Bond outfit. You know, the beige suit. And he pulls it off pretty well in this one, yeah.
He did a nice
I didn't mind the jacket so much. The jacket when he meets Kara in her apartment, I didn't mind that look so much.
Okay, all right.
But yeah, the suit at the debriefing with the kind of checkered
oh my gosh, yeah, the checkered blazer. What Matt Spazer would have to say about that?
He would not be a happy man.
No. I mean, he would like the pleats on Connery, but not the checkers on Dalton.
Definitely not.
That's a mouthful. All right, so we got to round this out. Because, this was a theory invented by Joe, so we always let him finish first. Out of the two Dalton films, is this Timothy Dalton's best one?
Far and away.
Ooh.
Far and away. I know License to Kill is one of those. You kind of love it or hate it. I was never a fan. I kind of feel like it was always an exaggerated episode of Miami Vice and not James Bond. And it just has a TV movie kind of feel to it. It never really worked for me. But Living Daylights, that's the one. That's got the secret sauce. Everything I want in a Bond film, I want beautiful. The shot when they are on the horse-drawn carriage coming into Vienna.
Oh,
to me, that's James Bond right there.
Yes.
You cannot get better than that. That to me is absolutely amazing.
And John Barry scored that perfectly because it feels romantic and sprawling and big, and I agree with you.
The elements of the Stradivarius, the operas, it's got that espionage feel that when they're the sniper scene, that whole opening when they're getting him out, that has that whole third man, Cold War-ish kind of feel to it, and I just love that.
And there were fun, whimsical moments that didn't feel over the top goofy.
Yes,
it wasn't Roger Moore telling the lion to sit.
Yeah, right.
There was just these kind of fun, funny moments that in a Craig movie would they be a little out of place? Probably.
Sure.
I mean, when 009's radio, dun 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 dun, dun it feels out of place because that doesn't really belong in a Craig movie. But these felt appropriate. I agree with you. For me, this was easily Timothy Dalton's best. I think License to Kill. Yeah. It's interesting. I've warmed to License to Kill over the years, but it's still not one of those where I'm going to say, you know what, I'm in the mood for a Bond movie. I'm going to go put on License to Kill. Will never happen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's again, like you said, Sex and Pizza, a Bond movie, a bad one is still great.
That's right.
But still, not one of my favorites.
By the way, that quote is a Bond film is like Sex and Pizza. Even when it's bad, it's still good. Because they're going to be like, what do you mean Sex and Pizza? Is Joe having sex with pizza?
That's a traditional David Zaritsky quote.
We just went like over the cliff.
Spiraling out of control.
Well, that was Timothy Dalton. Coming up next, we have Pierce Brosnan. In Goldeneye. So obviously we will, as they say, return for this. This has been David Zaritsky.
Joe Darlington.
And we will see you very soon.
See you next time.